Hi, it's Matthew Dixon of mindaid.ca. I'm bicycling across Canada for mental health, and I'm almost done. I've got maybe 40 kilometers left to my motel tonight, and tomorrow I've got a 100-kilometer bike, and the next day is a 60-kilometer bike to St. John's. 2 more days of biking after today. And it happens quickly. I did this before when I was 20. I bicycled across Canada, and it winds up pretty darn quickly. And what's facing me is, for one thing, the accomplishment of it all. Whew! I did it. I pretty much did it. And I've done this with schizophrenia. Bicycled across the country. Supposedly the first person to do it. That's a feather in my helmet. And doing something like this, it's tough to get back into society afterwards. It was tough the last time I did it. I believe Lewis and Clark, one of them, after their trek across America, one of them had a hard time, I believe for the rest of his life, fitting back into society. And I've definitely had something like that after my first trip. Sometimes it just feels like there's something missing. That you could be doing more, you could be having more fun. And anyway, I got my chance to do it again. 29 years after the first time I did it. Oh, wait a minute, 31 years. Did it in 92, it's now 2023. 31 years later I did it at the age of 51. Good on you, Matt. Good on you. So I will say it's hard to face what's coming next. Just the downfall. You know, people say, well, what are you going to do now? I'm like, well, that's kind of hard to beat. My biggest idea, and an entrepreneur I read about said this: if you're not working on your biggest idea, you're doing it all backwards. And my biggest idea right now, the best I can come up with, is a Mind Aid concert or number of Mind Aid concerts to raise funds and awareness for people with mental illness in developing countries. And I started some headway on that this spring before I headed out on this trip across Canada, and I got some positive feedback from people. And now that it's winding up, it just hit me the other day that it's September now already. It's the Labor Day weekend, hence all the traffic. It's Monday, Labor Day Monday. That's why everyone's boogieing back to get back to St. John's or wherever, Newfoundland, after their long weekend trip camping and whatnot. So I thought of having like a large Mind Aid concert, like Band Aid, Live Aid. Some people have expressed interest in that, and people with connections. Someone who's working with Kylie Jenner and Dwayne Johnson has expressed some interest in that. Another billionaire who I've reached out to has expressed interest in that in some capacity. So it's got clout. It just needs the legs to run with it. And I have never put on a concert before. I love music, I love dancing, but I've been reaching out to some people in the music and mental health industry in the last 4 years or so that I've been on social media. And I started to finally reach out to them this spring, so before the trip. One lady said she got chills thinking about a Mind Aid concert. So this could be small concerts and large concerts. It could be annual concerts. I don't know how it'll shape up. It'd be neat if they all had the Mind Aid brand, but I'm not super fussy. The main thing is getting people with mental illness in developing countries help. There are millions of people right now desperately trying to save their life, unable to get the treatment they need to recover from their mental illness. And there's ways to help them that are low cost, proven effective, and scalable. Models of basic mental health care. And there are groups using these models, and I just want to build those groups' capacity. and fundraise for them and make more people aware of them. The groups are listed at mindaid.ca in the donate section. This is nothing new. I've been talking about this for a long time. I just want to get them more money because these methods can scale. And yeah, so I'm thinking there's a book called The Self-Made Billionaire Effect, and they say billionaires do something differently than millionaires or multimillionaires. Billionaires get a working prototype out into the marketplace as soon as possible and get real world feedback, where multimillionaires will spend a year or two on a product in a lab getting lab feedback in research and development. If I can get a concert up and running soon, and I mean, you see like some disaster happen and within just a few days there's a concert with superstars raising millions of dollars for the cause. Concerts can happen quickly. If I can get even just a small concert with hundreds of people, a couple thousand, I don't know, that would be a huge step for me, and it would be a foot in the door. It could be a working prototype, and I would love to be able to put on, one idea I have is to put on concerts for years and years and years. People love music, people love concerts. That will never ever change. And to raise funds for those as the years come on, that's my biggest idea. So I'd like to run with that, and I should start running with that as soon as this trip is over and start getting on the horn. If anybody wants to help me out in any way, that would be wonderful. I know I've reached out to some of you already, and I will further those conversations after I hit the Atlantic Ocean that way. So that's my biggest idea. I've got some other ideas too, but yeah. The speaking, I'll continue to speak about mental illness, schizophrenia, Mind Aid, and continue to get on podcast interviews. It's, don't know how it'll all play out, but I won't stop, just like what's behind me didn't stop me. It didn't stop me. The Rocky Mountains, Northern Ontario hills, apparently some big hills up here in Clarenville. They won't stop me! That's all I have to say about that. Talk to you later.